Being your gloriously wibbly wobbly wonky self is about to pay off in a big way. Let me explain. I am Zuzu, I am an artist, and on this channel I make videos about art, obviously, but also style and books and all aspects of being a misfit, being somebody who doesn't fit in with the rest of the world. So if that all sounds like your cup of tea, then I really hope that you will subscribe and come along for the ride. While we're talking today, I'm going to be painting some paper for paper chains. I have a mad urge to make paper chains. They look cool. I'm not going to be making the chains in this video. I'm just painting some paper and making it all pretty so I can make chains. Let's just get on with it, shall we? So at the end of 2024, I think it was, I deleted all of my social media. And I don't mean like I deactivated my accounts or like just deleted the apps or whatever. I actually deleted my account, shut everything down. And I'd love to say that it was like fascism and a moral, ethical decision. But honestly, it was when they changed the format of Instagram from squares to rectangles. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, this platform does not give a shit about me and the years I've spent perfecting little tiny squares to please them and to look nice and to be curated and lovely. And it just felt like a kick in the teeth, really. That was the tipping point for me. And I deleted Facebook, I deleted Instagram, I didn't have a Twitter account. I deleted Blue Sky, I'd started playing with that. I think randomly I still have LinkedIn of all the things. So I was left with no social media and I still wanted a home on the internet, you know. I have loved the internet, not quite as long as it has existed because I was never that much of a nerd. I was a bit of a late adopter to the internet as a whole. But I have, since mid-2000s, I loved it, and it was the place where I could actually find other freaks like me, you know? And that was glorious. That was such a wonderful experience. I've never been a sort of anti-internet altogether kind of person. I definitely wanted somewhere where I could hang out and be with my people. And I just wanted it to be mine, you know? I wanted it to be a place that was free from algorithms and hoop jumping and short form video content. I really hate short form video content. I find it overwhelming and exhausting, and it just, I don't know, it fucks with my nervous system in a way that I don't enjoy at all. So that's where I was. I just wanted a place of my own that was completely me. And I'd come across an amazing artist called Kenning Zhu. I'll share her link in the description. I can't remember, somebody sent me an article of hers where she was talking about building a world, building a labyrinth, instead of a website, instead of like a social media feed, to create this universe. I love world building. Like, I've tried to do that with so much of my artwork, is like create a universe that people can come in and inhabit. And so hearing her talk about this was, it was just so exciting, you know? It's just really did it for me. So I binged all of her content, of course, and then I was like, fuck it, like, I just switched to a Shopify website like 6 months prior. I'd done all the things that I was supposed to do, but it felt really corporate and it didn't feel like me, and I was just so frustrated by the boringness of it, really. Just like everybody else-ness of it. I saw Kenning's website, and that coincided with doing a brand photo shoot with my husband, who's a photographer, and realizing that what we had captured was actually my alter ego made flesh, Zuzu in all her glory, who is me. I am her, she is me. There was a series of things that happened, and Kenning, finding Kenning's website was sort of the catalyst for me deciding to actually build this website that was completely unlike anything I had seen before, and unlike anything that anyone had really seen before. And it sort of fell out of me over the course of about 10 days. And it just felt like magic, you know, just the process of making it was just like whoosh. And it's all like a lot of the stuff that's on there is my first draft of the writing because it came out exactly how I wanted to say it. And there was just this glorious freedom of, oh, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me kind of thing, you know? I wasn't jumping through anybody else's hoops or trying to please anybody but myself. And for the first time, for a very, very long time, I felt like the internet was mine again. And I sort of did it as an act of defiance, but the response to it was fucking incredible, beyond what I could possibly have expected. People refer to it as like it's a cool party or a vintage video game. Like people wanted to go through and click on all the things, and it was like collecting stuff, collecting experiences, finding all these different rooms and rummaging through them. People said it felt like a safe space to be who they were, because I was showing up exactly, I do show up exactly as I am. Said it felt like a playground, like all these wonderful things that people said and still do say to this day. I think the way that people speak about it says something, you know, they're not responding to a prettily curated Instagram feed. They're responding to a unique experience that they haven't had before. And I think that's really exciting, you know, I think that's really cool. One of the things that people respond to the most is that it feels like it's made by an actual human person, you know, it's very personal, it's very, very idiosyncratic, it feels like an actual human being made it. Like there's no way AI could have made my website. It just wouldn't compute, you know. It doesn't make logical sense, it makes intuitive sense. It doesn't make machine sense, it makes human sense. You probably will have heard me talk about this a lot, like it's one of my favourite concepts, is that the reason that it is like that, the reason that people respond like that, is because of something that I like to call good friction. So good friction is sort of the chop wood, carry water idea. So the idea that things like owning a cat or tending a fire or even like tidying a space, they require something from you. They're not easy, frictionless experiences, but the benefit, what you get from those experiences, outweighs the cost of the effort that you're making. So we as humans have a tendency to discount the stuff that comes easily to us, like we don't value it very highly. The more stuff is served up to us on a silver platter, it has the effect of making us sort of more entitled. We don't value what we've got and we just want more. And it's this very grabby, bratty kind of energy. Whereas when you have to put a little bit of effort in, when you have to work a little bit harder for something, we tend to value that much more highly. Like what we tend, the tending is attention, and attention turns into love. It's an active experience that you're having. It's not a passive thing. So much of modern life is designed to be as frictionless as possible. Like everything is supposed to be smooth and convenient, and you know, even down to having AI do thinking for us. There are all these convenience measures that are inherent in modern life, and it hasn't really enriched our lives in any way. A lot of the time it's just opened up space for us to want more, or for more, you know, dissatisfaction or more entitlement or ennui in general. So when I designed the house, the website, I wanted to have some of that good friction built in. And I think that's one of the reasons why people have really, like, if they get it, if you get it, you really get it. If you love it, you really love it. There are no half measures. And I think because people have to work a little, they have to put something of themselves into the experience. It's not for everybody. It's absolutely not for everybody. Some people will find it intensely frustrating, and that's absolutely fine. If that's the case, then it's not for those people. But the people that it is for, the people who do have the capacity to slow down and spend a little bit of time crafting their own experience, they are richly rewarded with this sense of joy and satisfaction and belonging. So the point of me telling you all of this, apart from to brag about my awesome website and say like, hey, you should come and have a look if you haven't already, because it's amazing, is to say that since putting this website together, since I've built this, I have noticed, and this is probably a bit of a Baader-Meinhof effect, But I have noticed more and more of these kind of personal, deeply personal, idiosyncratic websites popping up all over the place. And more people leaving social media, being completely disillusioned with the way things are going online and lamenting the loss, because we have lost something, you know, with all of this convenience and frictionless connection and all the rest of it. We've been lulled into this situation where we've had something taken from us, which I think is really sad. We've lost that incredible sense of community that the internet gave us in those early days, where a weird kid from some rural backwater in the UK could meet other people like her. Like, I had never met anyone like me. Like, I was such a freak growing up. I was such a freaky kid. I didn't know anyone like me. I didn't know anyone who was interested in the same stuff that I was interested in. I didn't know anyone who had the same kind of sense of humour as me, or who was interested in the books and the art and the literature and I don't know, all the amazing stuff that I was into. Like, no one was into that. Or if they were, then they were very serious and very disapproving of butt jokes and stuff. And I like both. I like to do both. But anyway, I got to meet my people, and I think that was true for a lot of us, you know. We got to meet our people in the early days of the internet, and it was glorious. And it has been algorithmically stripped from us over time, and now it's turned us into a world of passive consumers. And we don't reach out and connect in the same way. We don't talk to each other in the same way. Oh, I think that's so sad. But I'm seeing more and more people build these like little personal websites, and it reminds me of the early days, Web 1.0, when we all had blogs, you know, we had blogs, maybe a Twitter account, and we'd all go and talk to each other and leave comments on the blogs, and there was this wonderful sense of community and this, oh my god, me too-ness. Oh, you like this and I like this and we're connected in this way, and you live in, I don't know, Alabama and I live in Somerset and you live in New Zealand, and we're all connected and we can talk to each other and connect. And it felt so human. We're all hungry for human connection now more than ever. So this appetite for this hyper-curated personal brand, which I think Instagram was really the main culprit for making that such a thing, this sort of flattening out and slickening of the human experience into something that had a recognizable color palette and, you know, it all looked the same. Even like the quirky, colorful ones, we were all flattening ourselves out to fit into a niche and to be appealing, and everybody had to have a personal brand, you know, everybody has to be recognizable, and you can't be interested in books and art and fashion and whatever, puppets. And be super silly and have a silly sense of humour and like all the things that make all of us interesting. It's our 3 dimensions, it's our roundedness. It's discovering that somebody that you absolutely love for one thing, when you find out that they're also into something else, that's so cool and it's so exciting and it's so human. And this version of people that's so like smoothed out and slickened out so it becomes just completely homogenous. Like, it photographs well, it's beautiful, but it has no meaning. With the rise of AI and everybody being able to be this polished, slickety version of themselves with no soul, I think more and more we're craving seeing the cracks, you know, we're craving seeing the humanness and the vulnerability and the authenticity, not in like a hashtag authentic kind of way, but in an actual like, fuck, you're a real person and I can connect with you. That's where these idiosyncratic personal websites and blogs and things, that's why people are hungry for them. And that's why they're coming back. We were given this incredible Wild West of a thing that had no boundaries. And over time, not a lot of time, we've kind of constrained it and constrained it and constrained it and constrained it and constrained it to be this awful passive consumption device. And we've all just kind of gone along with it because it's happened so incrementally. And I think what we're looking for is a bit of punk. A bit of punk. A bit of chaos, a bit of idiosyncratic expression, something that feels alive again. And I think it's fascinating because my website has spread the most through word of mouth, people talking about it and sharing it amongst themselves without any input from me. And I hear from the other people that I know that have the same kind of deal that that's the case for them as well. In my little group, we're always delighted when we find a new person who's doing something interesting like this. There's always this kind of glee, like, oh my God, have you seen this person who is being themselves on the internet in this particular way? And it's all different, and it's all so creative and so interesting and so exciting. Over time, more and more, this is happening. More people are opting out of this kind of tech bro idea of who you should be on the internet. Here's somebody who's feeding a content machine for other people to passively consume and doing something where they get to actually connect with the people that they want to connect with. And I think the forerunners of this movement are neurodivergent people, and specifically autistic people. And the reason for that is because autistic people, not all autistic people, obviously, we're not a monolith, but on the whole, we tend to have been pretty bad at the whole Instagram social media game because it's always demanded consistency, which is not something that we can always rely on. Trend following, we're not very good at following trends. We tend to be, what's the thing, immune to groupthink, which is something that Asperger, when he was assessing people for the Nazis, that was one of the criteria that he divided autistic versus non-autistic people into, which was we're immune to groupthink, which makes us very bad at fascism and also very bad at Instagram because we're not very good at jumping on trends or jumping through hoops in that way. And it also wants you to be socially acceptable in a way. And of course, there is nuance to this. It's not all autistic people are bad at those things. Not all autistic people are good at the other stuff. But I think generally people who are capable of seeing outside the norm, living outside of the mainstream, accepting that they are a bit weird and a bit different and what have you, I think there is an exasperation that is incredibly conducive to doing something completely different and completely innovative. And I know so many extraordinarily talented autistic people who have struggled for years, myself included, to grow an audience on social media, on, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. Not because they're not absolutely brilliant at what they do, but because they're not that great at playing that specific game. And I mean, yes, autistic people are good at following rules. We like rules. But when the rules change every 5 minutes, we're not that adaptable when it comes to stuff like that, I don't think. But what we are good at is pattern spotting. We are good at seeing what's coming down the pike, and we are good at doing things that nobody else has ever thought of. Now, I am convinced that it was an autistic person who invented fire, or multiple autistic people who invented fire, simply because they were in the woods rubbing two sticks together because it felt nice. And then whoosh, evolutionarily, like this is our role in society. We are here for innovation, especially if you've got a bit of AuDHD mixed in as well, doing things in a completely different way because our brains join up the dots in a completely different way to most people, which is why we're not so good at following the herd and doing what everybody else is doing, like especially if it doesn't make any sense to us. And that's why I think that we have the opportunity to be the forerunners in the next wave of the internet, of being the forerunners of being a fucking weirdo online, because we're used to being a fucking weirdo. No matter how hard we try to fit in and do what everybody else is doing, we're always going to stand out. There's always that human sixth sense that one of these things is not like the others. And so now, because everything has just gone to shit, and the whole social media personal brand thing isn't even working for the people that it used to work for, now we have this incredible opportunity to be like, oh, hey guys, you know that we're doing something completely different over here. Why don't you come and join us? And that feels really exciting. And I'm really excited. It feels like punk as fuck, super subversive. What a way to stick it to the man than to just not join in with the little fucking reindeer games you're supposed to play. If that's not punk, I don't know what is. Oh, that colour combination is spectacular. I read an article recently which says like what we think of as the internet is crumbling, but it's literally this commercial veneer on top of something that's still great. So Facebook, Instagram, Google, Amazon, that whole thing is like this thin shell on top of all of the old protocols that make that stuff happen. So RSS still exists, the protocols that make email still exist, all of the things that you can do to build a website and send emails and connect with people is all still there under this thin shell. And we now, which we didn't have back then, we now have these tools, which means that's so much easier. I mean, anyone can knock up a website on Squarespace and it looks gorgeous. My website's on Squarespace. I mean, it doesn't look like any other Squarespace out there. And I've done a bit of code, but it's been really minimal, you know? It's so easy with the tools that we have now to create something unique. I'm all for it. I think we should decentralize the internet, stop letting some fascist billionaires decide how we connect with the people that we care about, and do something different. The internet is huge, the protocols are incredible. There are people who are a lot cleverer than me who are figuring out ways for all of us to connect in new ways. As neurodivergent people, as autistic people, as people who like to think differently, and I assume if you're here watching this channel that you are the sort of person who likes to think differently, or just does think differently, then we have an opportunity. Let's bring back the indie web. Let's find a way to connect with the people that we care about again. Let's radicalize, let's innovate, and let's have some fucking fun again, you know? That's the thing I miss most about early social media. It was so much fun. And then it just turned into a chore. And then it turned into like who could play the game the best. And that makes me so mad. That's the thing that I think is going on right now. We were slowly, over time, allowed the internet to squeeze us into smaller and smaller boxes. It's like that frog in boiling water thing. I don't think most of us didn't even realise what was going on as it was going on. It just started to feel worse and worse and more difficult and complicated and less fun. And it squeezed us into this really narrow shape. And a lot of us, myself included, and probably a lot of you watching this as well, we never really fit that shape. Or maybe we started to and then it changed, and then every time we thought we had it figured out, the rules would change again. And I think what's happening now, the shape is loosening because they've taken it too far. They've gone too far and now everybody's struggling. And great, like if you have the time and the energy to knock out like 3 TikToks a day or whatever the advice is in order to get your art seen, like if you're happy just turning your art production into some endless content stream for the masses where people won't even follow you even if they like the content that you're putting out, go nuts, go off. It works for some people, never worked for me. And that's not because there's anything wrong with me or you if it didn't work for you. That's just because that was never the right shape for us. And because the grip is loosening as people are beginning to wake up. It's like coming out of the Matrix. I'm making this sound so dramatic. It really is not that dramatic, really. The grip that these platforms have on us is definitely loosening. What is rushing in to fill the gap is this chaotic, personal, idiosyncratic, hyper-specific explosion of personality and fun. And it's the way the internet used to be, and it's the way the internet should be, you know? It's a human invention made for humans. By humans. It's much more interesting than just like a brand with a person's face. I don't know about you, but anytime I see anything like that these days, super professional people with this highly branded identity online, it just turns me off like so much. But my point is, I think we wonky brain types, we have been building these muscles for years, being weird. We might not know how to be normal, but being weird, we've got that in the fucking bag. We know what we're doing with that. Thank you very much. And I think we're primed to take over. I think we are the future of the internet. Part of that will be creating spaces that ask something of you, that require something from you, that reward a little bit of attention, a little bit of tending, a little bit of good friction, because I think we need that in our human lives. We need to be asked to contribute something. We need to be asked to give something of ourselves in order to be happy. That's how we thrive. There's a proverb that says, if you want someone to be miserable, give them everything they ever dreamed of. We need a bit of challenge. We need a little bit of friction in our lives in order to be psychologically happy, psychologically well balanced. If we have everything delivered to us, if our whole lives require nothing of us, it makes us miserable. And I think so many of us are fucking miserable right now. And we spend so much time online that it's not really surprising, is it? It's not surprising at all. This is what I want you to take away from this. If you are a person for whom social media either never really worked or stopped working for you, stopped being a joyful experience for you within the last few years, you're not alone. You're in very good company, in fact. If you've got stuff you want to say, if you've got ideas you want to communicate, if you want to share that part of yourself with people who get it, then I'm offering you an alternative that is way more fun and works better. And the other thing is that the internet that we know is falling to pieces. Everything feels very shaky and uncertain in a way that sort of echoes the way that the world feels very shaky and uncertain at the moment. But there is still joy and there is still connection and there are still real, genuine human people out there. And if we can find each other, if we can connect with each other, if we can talk to each other outside of these rigid systems that have been built for us, then I don't know, maybe we have a hope of surviving the AI apocalypse. And maybe we can band together and do something about the state of the world as well. I don't know, that might be a bit lofty. What do I know? I'm just some random artist. And even if you have no desire to build anything like this for yourself, there is a whole world of the internet available to you outside of what is being spoon-fed to you algorithmically. I've left some links to some of my favourite weird places on the internet in the description, and I encourage you to go and check them out. Some of them you will hate, some of them you won't understand, some of them you will absolutely fall in love with, and they will bring you enormous joy. And those are the ones I recommend hanging out with and connecting with the people who make them and just enjoying them. Just enjoying the fact that they exist outside of the mainstream. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm absolutely starving. I need to go and eat. I love you all loads. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being weird. Be more weird. The world needs it. Idiosyncrasy is resistance. Mwah. Bye.